Yeah, this is a 9 by 12 that I've done, and I'm painting over it and stuff. It's very thin, and so I don't have to do much scraping. I don't. This is a photograph we took on a trip to the Grand Canyon. Let me show you. Oops. And I'm gonna start this and see how it goes, and you follow along. So I'm going to have this large and powerful tree coming out of the corner here. All I'm doing is just kind of taking some paint, and I like the mass of that tree, the shape of it. And so I'm going to, I like it well enough to stay pretty close to its original design here, and it does come out of the ground here, which is fine. Now it's very dark. The sun's coming from the left here. It's darker on the right than on the left. The horizon line is very high. It's up here. There. Some puffies up here. Some clouds. This is the North Rim, which is interesting. So right about here, we end up having some bushes and shrubs that are going down below here, and here. And it goes on to about here. The rain has stopped, so there's no more drips and dripping on the roof of the studio, so that makes it a little easier. There's kind of a berm right over here. Lots of terps, so the stuff moves very quickly. There's a big shrub here, darkest on the bottom. Then there's a rock formation that goes to about here. There. And then it goes down, out, and then down some more. Dark, dark. It's very light right here. And then there's more green stuff here in this berm. Now, the background with the various canyons and stuff is going to be really a supporting cast in this whole arrangement, because with all this going on in the foreground, the background is going to be relatively unimportant. I mean, it'll be there, but it certainly is not going to play a major role. Here's part of the background. Yeah, here I'm making this a little lighter, not as dark, because it's far away, and so therefore it will be lighter. We've got layers here, and then we have layers going in this direction right here, starting here and going in, which is another nice vehicle that drives us into the painting. Yeah, here. There are other things, but for now, this is kind of what's important. Of course, it's not straight the way I have it here. Then there's a nice mass that kind of comes out here that is going to be on the reddish brown side. It starts down here and ends up about here. But this portion of it is very dark, deep shadow right here. There, deep shadow. All right, we'll go over that. Okay, and then the sky, which is very light. And so when I get to this stage, before I put any more scratch marks in it, I do want to establish some of the colors and values. That's what's going to be critical. Not the lightest green is really the stuff that's in the foreground here. Then we have a little darker green. I'll use that nice Utrecht green that I like. Wow, that Utrecht orange, my God, it is so powerful. You just need a dab and it's done its job. Any more than that, you're wasting it. And I wasted some here. And then right near that rock it gets kind of orangey. And for that orange I'm going to use not the Utrecht orange, which is so powerful. I'm going to use, what is it called? The Winsor Newton Yellow Deep. And it's almost like an orange. It's one of my favorite colors. And it's only a hue. Cadmium yellow deep hue. I like it, and it's not, whatever reason, I've been using it and I like it, and so I'm sticking to it. But right about in this area, things are a little more orangey here. In fact, maybe I will have to take some of the orange from here. And then there's that wonderful, I mean, this is really, there are two areas. One, they've got these, if you've been to the Grand Canyon, you know what I'm looking at. It is these cliffs that are very, very light tan. They're very interesting. I really like them. And it kind of continues that way. There'll be a couple of things here and here too. Here it goes down. Alrighty. There. Goes down, comes out over here. It goes down some more. That's basically what it is. And then here, this stuff is in shadow. So it's not that bright. Alright, and this is that nice orange in there. We'll take Windsor, no, the Utrecht orange. It's much brighter than that. Another color that I've begun to like is also a Winsor Newton. It's a light red, but it's very, very heavy dark red. It's called a light red. Boy, if that's the light red, look at that. And I've taken just a switch of it, just a tiny, tiny bit. Here. There. And then when you go back and make sure I remember where my highlights are, there's this platform here. And again, I'm not interested in making copies, so but it does have to work for me. It has to work. Here. Okay. Well, let's go to something else here so we get a feeling for what we've got. I need that dark red again or the light red of Winsor Newton, and it's here. There. Kind of goes down. Okay, now let me change brushes here. I'm going to go to the sky, which is a very light hazy color in the background. And what in the beginning, it's very quickly, I only kind of basically put the shapes, the masses down where I think they belong, and roughly the value of it, how light or dark it is, to see, because the relationship between the various elements in here is what ends up making or breaking the painting. So it's relatively, it's really kind of important, and that's the reason I'm not finishing anymore. I want to feel a relationship. I think that's fine. Relationships are here, there, and now I'm going to put in that distant. It's just a massive wall that's in shade, and actually it's above. In fact, I don't want it to meet this bush right here. That won't make sense. So I'm going to make it a little higher, about there. Yeah. They're relatively straight across, there's no doubt about it. Now, okay, here's that trench that I drew in, but above the trench there's kind of a, what color is that? I've always kind of wondered about it. It's kind of a green, and I've got a bunch of green out there. There. Oops, now I'm going over the tree. There we go. Yeah. That's a nice dark green. I like that. There. Yeah. Now. Yeah, good thing I'm doing this. I think part of the canyon was underneath that, but that's how it goes. Again, the same process. Utrecht, the brilliant green, and then some alizarin to get it even darker. And a tiny bit of phthalo blue too. That really makes a nice dark. I will use Payne's Gray, but today for a black. Here. Here. Okay. There's the mass, the shape, the design for that tree, and so you know this is the side where the sun is coming right here. Yeah, not making it too bright. There. That's fine for now. This is going to be that dark trunk. Well, I'm getting pretty close to where I want to go. Let's see. This is that trench that I was painting, just like this is in the shadows in that trench. Yeah. Here's that beautiful, and for that trench, I'm going to use what am I using? I'm using a French ultramarine right here. Here. Okay. And it's kind of like hillside behind it. Like right here. Yeah. See how little interest I'm taking in the stuff that's behind here. It's there, but it's really relatively unimportant. The strata is one of the things that the strata that you find in the Grand Canyon is fascinating. Again, so I mean, to set it up really doesn't take a lot of time. It's just kind of decide, you pick and choose. This is what I've got on the photograph or what's in front of me when you're doing it plein air, and this is what I'm going to include, and that's it. I'm kind of making this thing rise, and I don't want to do that. I'm going to go back. Yeah. There's that. So, well, the basic design is there. Some details, a bunch of details are missing, and but I will be clarifying them. All right, let me take a break here. I'm going to work on it some more. Here. Here, let's see. There is a second branch coming out of that trunk, out of that tree trunk. And like a lot of things, I'll try it. And then I'll decide, yes, I need it. Okay, I've put out some more of my favorite white, which is a Griffin Alkyd, Winsor Newton Griffin Alkyd white. It dries in a day or so, and that's the reason I like it. Wet on wet is fine, but that'll be today. Tomorrow, I want to scrape it or paint over it, and so I don't want it too wet tomorrow. Anyway, let me keep going here. My thinking, so everybody knows. The brightest green was right here. There are also going to be some nice shadows there. That was kind of an orangey green, so I'm going to here. This was a green as well. I'm just going to use that, what I've got on my brush for now. Yeah, there's going to be some shadows in here. I'm using the greens that I still have on my palette that I used for this tree. And, you know, it's there, but I'm certainly going to play with it some more. And now, so we've got kind of a nice some of the highlights on these rocks. This goes down, highlights there, and then in the shadows it ends up getting a lot warmer. I'm using that light red, that Winsor Newton light red, which is anything but light. It's a very deep dark. Well, you could lighten it out with white, but anyway. And then it has these shells, these strata, you know, here. These shelvy things, these strata, how it's all put together. Here, here, here. Some of it goes vertically right here. I'll go back in and pop in some highlights. I want to go more to that warm, that wonderful. There. Here. there. Here. Yeah. And I get quiet, I'm thinking. If it's something critically I'm thinking about, I'll speak up. Here's that plateau down below. Another little plateau here. There. Right here. This is in shadow. Shadow. This is real dark back here. And now, there's a bunch of it here. Yeah. Yeah, it's even darker right there. Yeah. Alright. The lightest light really is that shelf that's sitting there. It's back in here. And cadmium red light. Isn't that wonderful how nature kind of provides? Gives me the compliments right there. Don't have to think much about it. Not in this painting, anyway. Here. Okay. There's really a line here. There's literally a line. Yeah. Okay. There are a few highlights here. Alright, now I'm making it. It is the lightest part in that photo that I showed you. In fact, I'll show it to you again so you have remember what I'm doing. Remember the photo we talked about? I showed you? Here it is. And, well, here it is. And that's what I'm using. That's what I'm going from. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let me go to that surface here. got to reestablish this nice hill here. And it'll pick up these reds. That's one of the reasons I'm including it. I'm going to put that in now because it's starting to disappear. So here, yeah, here, and here. If I like it well enough, if I'm excited about it, which may or may not happen, I will make an enlargement of it, and that'll be kind of interesting too. And here, okay, there's a ridge behind it here. In shadow, sun's coming from here. Yeah, there's another ridge back here. And we talked about a ridge back over here too. A strata. Yeah, here, here. And then between those is where you find kind of the places where the hills have kind of deteriorated. And they've left a shelve of some kind, which is what ends up happening down here. In front of this wonderful red hill that's right below us. Again, I think I said it earlier and I'll repeat it. It's really supporting cast back here in the background. A line or two. That's about it. All right. There, yeah, it's kind of important that you end up having some nice darks down here because that's mostly in shadow. Here. And let's see that, I drew that line. I'll fix it by doing a lighter sky. Yeah, this part is, I'm kind of reacting to what I see, and I'm kind of going pretty quickly. But I just wanted to be. It's just about the same way I would do it if I were out painting this on plein air. And the reason it's about the same is because my thinking comes as I'm going along. I include this. Oftentimes I'm wrong, and I've got to go back and repair things I thought should be one way when they should be another. This is that light sky. Here, yeah, there, very good. The horizon is pretty straight now. What do we got here? That is stuff that hasn't been covered with paint. It doesn't all have to be covered in paint. It's a good thing if it isn't. One of the things that's bothering me, and that's kind of how stuff like this comes together, is that I've got all these, I don't have any verticals in here. There are a few, but that to me makes sense. This comes all the way across. Yeah. And that orangey stuff, that light red from Winsor Newton, I'm going to put that underneath here. I'll make it lighter. In fact, the line really comes close to this way. And the rest of that ledge ends up being a lot lighter because it ends up being more in the sun. It is one of the lightest things in this whole painting, in this whole thing that I'm painting. It's even lighter than the sky, so it's very interesting. Here, here. Yeah, and it goes kind of underneath there. Okay. Well, I think, yeah, there's some interesting shelving in a stratification. It's here, here, here. I want to separate this value from this one. They're a little, almost right, but not quite. Yeah. Yeah, that's better. There. There's other strata in here. I'm going to make it a color. That's there. Yeah. Interesting. And yeah. Put that on the other side there too. I'm going to have to go in here. That's awfully dark, dark, dark. I'm going to use that red. Use that same red that the hill is made of. And just lighten it a hair. There. Alright, it's time for another break here. Yeah, the shadow could be just a hair dark. I do want to keep that a mass, a shape. That value is about right. There. And these dark strata lines kind of help identify that we are in the Grand Canyon. Okay, same color for on the trunk. It needs to be darker, but we're getting. Yeah, what have I spent? This is enough. This is good, and I'll work on it some more. I don't know what happened. The camera suddenly stopped, and so I don't know how much I've got. I'll have to look at it later. Here we go. Just refining the masses is really all I'm doing. Making sure that my values are correct. There. Still need some, I don't know, I like this mush right here. I could use a little punchier green in some places. I've got it on the lower left there, so I do want to repeat some of that up here. Okay. Well, I think for a little study, darks. Oh, I was going to reestablish that red. That's what I wanted to do. That reddish hill right there. A nice hill. It goes up and it goes back. It's darker than this for sure. And then the front comes up. This goes here. That goes there. It's kind of nice. And then it ends up having here. The value is pretty good too. Wondering if that was the right value, so I decided to go into it. Okay. Yeah, maybe that value here could pop a little darker. Yeah. And I think I'll punch that up in the foreground. It is pretty light. To pop it up. Yeah, like so. A couple more strokes here, here. All right, a nice little study. It, oh no, I'll have to think about whether I'm going to make this into an enlargement. But we'll see here. There you go. I'll find plenty of stuff to work on, there's no doubt about it. Yeah. It's a nice dark green from Utrecht I like. It's called Brilliant. Brilliant green. Anyway, some little dark values where the intense shadows are and we don't see much. Yeah, it's I'll play with it. I don't know. Clouds, nah. And the clouds are just up here, but I think what we've got there is fine. I'm wondering about those shadows. I want to make it zing too. I mean, I want to make it like you're wondering what's there. Yeah. Let me try that a little redder in between there. That little strata again, which just identifies as there. I can do this for the rest of the day, but I think from a standpoint of showing you how I start, how comes do I really want to stop? Well, I'll stop for now, and then I'll decide, yes, this is plenty, or I can use something else. I want to put this color in here. not only like it, it happens to be kind of the ground cover here. It repeats itself back here. So, yeah, here, this goes there, and then I want to have it here. Okay, that's my Grand Canyon. There. Alright, not a bad little painting. I'll let you know if I decide to make it into an enlargement. For now, that's okay. I've repainted this a little bit since you've seen it last. I've kind of defined it. This bush over here has been better defined. It's a little bit more orangey yellow compared to the bush behind it. The highlights on this tree have been emphasized, which wasn't there before. The cliffs have been simplified. They're very complicated, but the more complicated they are, the simpler they have to be on a small painting like this. The clouds were added, but it's just a puff of something back there. It's not enough to distract you from the foreground. The image, the stuff, the hills, the shadows behind the tree are about what they were. They haven't changed much. And so I'm saying, I think for now I'm going to leave it alone. The frame is mine. I made that, and I think it may be a little on the light side. It may have to be darkened by putting a patina on either the liner or somewhere else to make it work. But otherwise, I'm relatively pleased with what I've got here. And now the big question is, do I want to make an enlargement of this? I may. And the difficulties, of course, with the enlargement is that some of the areas that have no detail at all, like the background, will have to have more detail. I just can't imagine. I should try that sometime, but it always fails, that I make an enlargement, 16 by 20 of this, and leave it as undefined in areas as it is here. I've always been curious what that would look like and how it would work, but I think I've tried it, and it's always a disappointment. But I should try it again because I kind of like this painting.